Welcome to A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. My name is Kristen.
And my name is Katie. And we want to spend a few minutes a day with you walking through the New Testament, one chapter at a time. This year, we will fix our gaze upon Christ so that we may know him, not only with our minds, but with our hearts.
Together, we will learn that who Jesus is changes everything.
Hi friends, welcome back to A Year in the Bible Daily Grace. My name is Katie, and together we are walking through Revelation in our year-long study of the New Testament. Today we are studying Revelation 10. As always, you can follow along with the Behold studies in the Daily Grace Co. shop or with the reading plan linked in the show notes. Do you remember the hopeful interlude between the sixth seal and the seventh seal in chapter 7? Well, today we have another interlude that provides a pause between the sixth and the seventh trumpets. We won't read about locusts or plagues or demons. Instead, we will read about the recommissioning of John to prophesy again about many peoples, nations, language, and kings. The chapter begins with an angel of both majesty and magnitude. This angel is referenced as a mighty angel. The mighty angel is wrapped in a cloud and has a rainbow like a halo around his head. Throughout the Old Testament, God's glory is described as a cloud, and a rainbow is a symbol of God's faithfulness and mercy from Noah's account in Genesis. His face shone like the sun from being in the presence of God. His legs were pillars of fire, like pillars that would guide the Israelites by night in the wilderness wanderings. Not only was the angel glorious, he was massive. These verses record the angel having 1 foot on the water and 1 foot on land. His voice is as loud as a roaring lion and 7 thunders. It seems as if John is actively writing as he receives these visions. But in this instance, John was about to record what the 7 thunders said, but God's voice booms from heaven and commands John not to write down what he just heard. Instead, the message is sealed up. Was this another judgment? Was this a secret of what comes next? We aren't quite sure what the 7 thunders said, but we do know that God, in his sovereignty, said no to John writing them down. Instead, this angel makes an oath. He raises his right arm to heaven and swears by the one who lives forever and ever that there will no longer be a delay. Back when we met the saints in the 5th seal, who were desiring God's vengeance, God had told them to rest a little while longer for fellow servants to be martyred. But this waiting is now done. God's judgment will soon be complete. Next, God invites John to take a small scroll from the angel's hand. He is to take it, eat it, and then prophesy to the people of God about his coming judgment. The scroll will be sweet on John's tongue, but bitter on his stomach. Why sweet and bitter? Well, consider your own walk with God. Enjoying fellowship with him is sweet. Reading his word is sweet. Worship is sweet. But there is bitterness involved when we see some of those we love who are refusing him. There's bitterness when we struggle with our sin and with the hardships of the world. So too, there will be sweetness in seeing the positive reception to his message, people turning to Jesus, but there will be also bitterness from those who reject John's message. Ezekiel had a similar experience in Ezekiel 3. He too is commanded to eat a scroll and deliver a message. The taste of the scroll was sweet, but the contents of the scroll meant judgment for Israel. That makes us think, what are the contents of the scroll in today's chapter? Scholars disagree, but most likely it was the remainder of Revelation, the final judgment to come. The bottom line here is that God desired John to take the scroll, eat it, and share its contents with the world so that the world could be saved. How great and merciful is our God. So what do we behold about Jesus today? Because of Jesus, we have hope in God's wrath. We have protection by his blood. The news of judgment is sweet only because Jesus has prepared us room in heaven. We worship Christ today because we know that though we will face hard times and be mocked for our faith while on earth, we have a glorious future ahead of us, a future spent with Jesus.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. Don't forget to check out the show notes for helpful links and resources related to today's episode. And make sure you are following at Daily Grace Podcast on Instagram for more A Year in the Bible content, and at the Daily Grace Co. for all things Bible study resources. We can't wait to study again with you tomorrow. Bye, friends.